Welcome to another update on Stellar Lumens. In our last update, we had a pretty solid looking rally in place, but I was getting suspicious on whether or not it's just a fake out rally. And well, we may have our answer in place right now after some bullish action over the past several days and what looked like a healthy correction. We've actually made a nominally lower low in Stellar Lumens, and it's not the only coin in which we're seeing that kind of action. Off the top of my head, Bitcoin Cash is in a similar situation, although it never looked as bullish in the first place as Stellar and most of the other altcoins did. When we take a look at our previous low back here marked in red, that stood right around the 10-cent mark. However, we've gone a little bit lower, so still right around the 10-cent mark, but maybe 9.999, something like that cents. So we have invalidated this upside setup, and therefore this purple will come off the chart for now. It doesn't mean it's all doom and gloom. This probably just means we need to see more of a setup before we can actually make more of a projection. I say probably because there is a chance for more downside setup, downside follow through if we do continue down, but we are seeing a bit of a sharp rebound, especially in Stellar Lumens. We're not seeing as strong of a rebound in other coins, but they haven't pulled back as hard as Stellar Lumens have either. So therefore, there's really not much to go over here. All this fib extension goes away. This box for the pivot goes away. And again, these aren't necessarily bearish things that I'm doing. We just need to see more of a structure to the upside first before we can project anything that has any confidence. In other coins, we've seen similar pullbacks. This is Bitcoin, and this also looks ominously like an A, B, C pattern, although the C probably didn't go as high as it ideally would have by textbook Elliott wave standards. And well, this is looking a little sketchy. This doesn't look particularly corrective. This could be 1, 2, 3 with maybe a fourth wave consolidation happening. If we get a consolidation, a slightly lower low, that could be an impulse down, which could open the doors for a lower low, but it's a little premature to call that with any confidence. Ethereum's in the exact same situation in which you have a 1, 2, and I'd like to call this a nested 1, 2 setup. So I'll leave it at that. That will be my primary for Ethereum, but similar story there. Bitcoin Cash already went over. We never really had much of a setup in the first place there. However, other altcoins look a little bit better. This could be an A, B, and a C for a larger second wave since we have a lower low in place. When we look at Dash, one of my leading indicators for the altcoin space, same kind of thing. Looks a little unconventional, but we've had a lower low here relative to this low back here. So this could still count as a 1, 2 setup, possibly the start of a leading diagonal. And finally, Chainlink, which is also one of my leading indicators, oftentimes gives us a hint of what's to come in the rest of the crypto space. Before other cryptos, looks like an A, B, C up. That was my red alternate pattern, although it has gained some steam with our inability to follow through with any upside. At best, this could count as a subwave 1 of this larger wave 3, and it could be a leading diagonal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So really pushing my imagination here, but focusing back on Stellar Lumens, we need to see a setup before we can make any kind of upside projection. Now, I've been mentioning that the stock market has been in a very similar posture, and we've gone over how many of the inflection points for cryptos are shared with the stock market and its many segments, as well as other asset classes such as energy and bonds and commodities. Even in the short-term picture, there's some similarity in how these have moved. This is the ES mini futures, the futures market for the S&P 500. And you can see that we had a 1, 2, 3 wave setup, never quite got our 4, 5. So this at best counts as A, B, and hopefully a C wave. We've had a pretty deep pullback, so it's not looking particularly confidence inspiring. And as a matter of fact, one could interpret this as a first wave to the downside. So that's right. When we look at our our stock market space, it does have a valid setup for more downside. And as I alluded to with Stellar, we could make that argument. Bitcoin need to see a little bit more definition, but there's a chance that this is going to sink us, especially with the downside we've seen today. Now, if we can reverse and rebound, could be a very bullish sign. So we're at a very sensitive crossroads at the moment in many market sectors, not just in cryptos and not just in the S&P. So this is the big picture chart. Haven't changed too much. Our purple primary pattern does remain the primary. I do have some updates on potential timing, so I'll go over that momentarily. You'll remember that I did have an alternate pattern orange. At first, I was calling possibly a deeper push into this box, the alternate orange. However, any kind of further pullback we have that stays within this pink box, I'm going to count that as part of the purple pattern. And that's because I'm considering this a B wave. So B wave could technically retrace the origin point of the entire rally and it would still remain a B wave. So we have a lot of cushion here for this to continue going downwards without jeopardizing our big picture pattern. If we can turn around after that, we still have a 5-wave impulse left. That would be our C wave. And on the big picture, we're looking at this bottom in March of 2020 as our major 4th wave bottom with a diagonal setup. So when we look at the big picture, I see this as a diagonal structure to better correlate what we see in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dash. Therefore, each of the subwaves should be a 3-wave pattern. And finally, because of that, this means this is an AB with a C wave left for our 5th wave. Otherwise, the alternate pattern calls for a lower low that breaks below this red support. And I don't see this as a strong possibility at the moment, especially because we haven't really had a meaningful pullback up to the upside. So if we want to see lower, I would expect to see a deeper impulsive first wave and a bigger bounce. We haven't really seen any kind of good bounce. However, if we do see that lower low, it would fall somewhere around 2 cents or lower. That is based on this entire pullback from, when is this? January 2018 to March of 2020 as an A wave. This whole rally up to the mid 2021 peak as a B wave, and a C wave about equal to the length of the A wave. So A equals C, that's a common equivalence, and that would project right to about here. We need to see a lot more signs of this happening before I would take this possibility seriously. So if we see more bearish action, this will become a greater possibility, but at the moment, it is a remote possibility. Now, as for how this rally should take place if we have continued upside, well, we do have the setup in place. As I mentioned, we have gone deep enough. We actually have a triple bottom. You can kind of see it here, very clear. All these 3 bottoms were within fractions of a cent from each other. So you could call that a inverted head and shoulders pattern for you traditional TA folks. And we also have our MACD divergence, as you see here, where this thing is less and less stretched as we've had lower lows. So we are primed to have a rally. If we have the rally, as I mentioned, expect it to be a 5-wave impulsive rally into this blue box overhead. Again, we haven't really done anything to alter this target. There's a lot of confluence there based not only on the bigger 3-4 setup, in which well, you have your 0.618 at the top of that box. When you look at this larger AB pattern, there's some confluence in that upper $8 range. And when you look a little further back, if we consider this to be a 1-2 of some sort, there's still confluence in that $8, $9 range. So I have placed all of those confluence within this box. And finally, if you have an AB, as we have here, your C wave, again, will either be a 1.0 extension or as far up as the 1.618 extension. The top of the box is pretty close to the 1.382 extension. So relatively conservative estimate for where we could go. That would be a long way up from here in the multi-dollar mark. So that would be exciting. What do we need to see first before we can, well, trade with confidence? We need to see a 5 of impulse. So as I mentioned, we don't have any such thing at the moment because we invalidated our immediate impulsive setup. So we need to see 5-wave impulsive structure that could look something like this. Perhaps we're already in the middle of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Then you get a pullback. Then you can more confidently deploy some cash into Stellar Lumens. Ideally, we have a much bigger impulse that gets us into that 3 to 8 cent box. So if we get a clear 5-wave impulse into this blue box, that'll be a very strong sign that we're about to take off. Wait for the second wave pullback. That will be the place to put in big chunks of cash if you're looking to invest, get the ride up, because from there it could go from 21 cents, 10x up plus just for the third wave alone. But don't get too crazy just yet, and don't put all your coins into one. Don't put all your coins. Don't put all your cash into one coin, as I've been mentioning. Diversify. Don't just put everything into Stellar Lumens. Unless you're in Bitcoin or Ethereum, diversify between Ethereum Classic, Litecoin, Solana, Chainlink, Polygon, EOS. There's so many options out there. It's too dangerous to put everything into one basket, no matter how much you believe that you're gonna win out. It's just too dangerous. So moving on to timing expectations. If you do decide to go long, I do expect this top to align with the everything top, which I made a video on about 2 weeks ago or so. And in my investigations in my analyses across many different asset classes, we have a lot of common inflection points. Namely, you got that big major third wave. This was a major third wave for tons of different asset classes. including the stock market. And therefore, if this is a fifth wave, this could be a major fifth wave punctuating a cycle that began in the depths of the Great Recession in 2008. There's even a chance it could be the top of a cycle that began in the 1930s, Great Depression. So this could be an everything top. Things could get epic. I know there's a lot of bad news out there in the media right now. They just take whatever current bad news happening and amplify it. So don't take everything you see there with a grain of salt. Doesn't mean we're about to enter the doom and gloom now. We'll see a lot more signs. So check out that video if you are curious. I do have some clues on timing. That will be what I close with. So when I have my trend channel analysis set up here, primarily the blue lines. Oh, whoa, what did I just do there? When you look at our blue trend channel line and you intersect it with what this box is, we're looking at the second half of 2023 as a potential top, and we're seeing timing like that in several other coins. Again, this is trend channel analysis. It's not inherently a part of standard Elliott wave analysis, but it can be uncanny in predicting things, especially if we get that 1-2 in place. You got a pretty good timing projection. This purple line is a little bit more aggressive, and it says that we possibly have a top by Q1 of 2023. So look for those signs. Again, we have a lot to prove before we have any kind of confident projection up to the top. Nothing's looking particularly strong at the moment, although we have every sign that we have bottom. We're not seeing a very strong 5-wave impulse in anything, honestly. Even oil, we invalidated what looked like a good setup today. Haven't been paying much attention to the blockchain companies, but whoa, what did I just do there? If we go to Marathon real quick, here too, we may have something cooking up. So if nothing else, there's at least something to be excited about. We may have 5 up already. This may be the 4th wave, waiting on a 5th wave. Stay tuned, subscribe so that you don't miss updates. I'll definitely have some updates on not just Stellar Lumens and the other coins, but other assets like this as well. And if you enjoyed my video, don't forget to give me a like. Until next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.